Coming up on show 671, fare thee well, BMW i8. We've loved you, but it's time to go. Plus, Sono Motors sort of hit their crowdfunding target. Big sales in France for Renault and Tesla. Fossil sales are in a global freefall as well. New Jersey passing a landmark EV ruling and more. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're listening in the world. Welcome to EV News Daily. This is the edition for Sunday, 19th of January, and of course at the end of the show I'll read out all of your emails. Not all of them, get loads every week. I try and whittle them down to a representative sample of what you think of the current car manufacturers and which ones should be doing more. My name is Martyn Lee, and I've been through every EV story over the weekend and picked out the highlights to save you time. Thank you as always to myev.com for helping me make this show. And yeah, MyEV are holding that big event in Miami very, very soon. Now, EVs and tea. It's such a good idea. If you want to go along, there is a URL, evsandtea.com. Of course, and it's from the people that bring you MyEV and Inside EVs and Evernex. And if you'd like to go along to that, like I say, in Miami, if you're on the East Coast, it's going to be a big electric vehicle event at Base Camp. It's going to be on Saturday the 8th of February at Base Camp Miami. On Feb 8th, if you want to RSVP on the website, you can do. You get a gift bag as well from Evernex, make some new friends, experience art, food, music. Going to be brilliant, and I love an EV get-together, particularly one that's organised by the top guys at guys and girls at MyEV. Brilliant group of people doing their bit to further the world moving to electric transport, which is brilliant. If you're going along to that, by the way, have fun. Let me know if you're going. And let me know what it's like as well. Hey, got a new review very quickly on Apple Podcasts. I love it when you review the show. Mark in Vancouver has done that. On my way to work, I get my daily fix of EV news, he says. Mostly cars. I like energy and solar stories. I have a 31-panel system, which is why I'm reading you this review. Not for my own ego or benefit. Because if that's you, and you have either an EV or want to get one or want to get storage or want to get solar, please do feedback, and you can dictate and you can feed in to the kind of content that we do on this podcast. Mark in Vancouver drives a Model 3, by the way, in case you were listening. Also has a Honda Accord. We can't wait to get rid of it and go full EV for both cars. Been listening for 8 months, he says, and then he recently went back and listened to the first 40 episodes, and so he is definitely a glutton for punishment. Thank you for listening. Thank you for reviewing on Apple Podcasts. Well, the BMW i8 I mentioned at the beginning of the show. It was September last year when BMW released the Ultimate Sophisto limited edition models based on the i8 and the i8 Roadster, signalling the end of assembling the hybrid sports car. It's going to come to an end, I'm afraid. We now know when the 2+2 Coupe goes out of production, says Inside EVs. According to an Autocar article, which they picked up, BMW will say goodbye to the i8 sometime around April. 6 years after it was first launched. No exact dates in mind in the UK. However, a UK spokesman did say UK customers interested in a built-to-order car will need to have placed their order with their local retailer by the end of February. BMW's Director of Development, Klaus Frohlich, confirmed the Vision M Next concept won't be a direct successor of the i8. And back in July last year, he told the Australian media there's no direct successors either for the i3 or the i8. The i3 is not going anywhere just yet, though. But sad news about the i8. I mean, look, they didn't sell a ton of them, and I was never going to be a customer because they're crazy expensive, but a really, really sexy, gorgeous car. I must have seen my first one about 6 years ago at... Now, where was it? It might have been something like Top Gear Live or one of those kind of big car shows where there's like stunt shows but also a few halls with classic cars and racing cars, and I remember coming across that, probably being the only thing that was even partially electric at the show, and had a plug socket on it, and I was thinking, wow, absolutely adore looking at it. And I've never driven one. I've never really got under the skin of the i8 apart from just admiring from a distance. I imagine you're the same, actually. But watch the videos and look at the pictures and think, oh man, it still looks incredible. I'll happily Happily take one of those for the driveway anytime somebody wants to give me a discount. Right, let's talk about Sono Motors has exceeded their crowdfunding target of €50 million and extended the campaign by extending the campaign until the 20th of January. The Munich-based company announced on Saturday evening on Twitter, 2 days before the deadline closed, that Electrive picked up a key factor in the campaign's success was the existing investors. Now, they gave Sono Motors a financing commitment of an extra €10 million after the initial crowdfunding round ended at the end of the year, and that failed to meet its €50 million target. In the period since beginning of December, it did €32 million of commitments, partly through reservations and down payments, increasing existing down payments and donations and loans all included. Well, Sono Motors has generated the difference between that 32 and the 50 million target within 3 weeks. They extended the campaign, and the proceeds will be used to finance tooling and further series prototypes of the Scion, the company's debut solar electric car. Really fascinating little project, this. I say little project, unbelievably expensive to get a car into production. They haven't actually got, as far as I understand, that 50 million in a bank account ready to swipe the debit card. It's sort of a mixture of commitments and, if you raise this much, we'll top it up, and an extra financing agreement. So fingers crossed. I really hope that Sono can carry on, because done some great work so far. A long way to go, but good luck to them. So, a triple set of sales stories right now, and funnily enough, they all came from Clean Technica. And the first one I noticed was in France, where the French plug-in electric vehicle market had 7,250 new units in the month of December alone, 30% up year on year. Renault Zoe's the number one, Tesla Model 3 just behind. They love the Zoe, and of course, the new one, ZE50, bigger battery, goes further. All the gadgets, CCS charging, a nice big screen in that, like a little mini Tesla screen. What's it missing? Bjorn Nieland is always moaning when he drives one about the lack of adaptive cruise control. Doesn't bother me, but it bothers him. And apart from that, the Zoe looks a very efficient car, low watt hours per kilometre, and the French love it as well. And also in France, with big infrastructure, by the way, in France, if you didn't know, of 22 kilowatt AC charging posts dotted around everywhere, which is why the Zoe is now the only car, as far as I know, that can charge both 22 kilowatts AC and on fast chargers on CCS as well. Very, very flexible car. What about the overall market, though? Well, the world's fossil fuel vehicles have been in free fall in 2019, dropping by around 4.35 million, around 5% compared to the year before, accelerating a trend that just keeps going and going down. People are buying fewer and fewer fossil cars. Global electric vehicle sales, meanwhile, now you're talking, continuing to rise. The 2019 EV market looks like it's going to settle out. Now all the numbers are coming in, people are doing the tallies. About 4.7% of China and 3.8% of Europe. And that's cars with plug sockets on, by the way, to plug-in hybrids in there as well. What about the Model 3 in the USA, though? It was the 7th best-selling car in the year. In the month, I think, 9th over the year. A Model 3 ended up being the 7th best-selling car in 2019, for Q4 actually. 9th best-selling across the year. And the Model 3 was the number 1 best-selling car in December, based on estimates. Of course, Tesla don't give monthly figures. But when you look at the cars above it, over the year, this is Camry, Corolla, Civic, Accord, Elantra, Ultima. These are all big selling cars. And then Model 3. Just spectacular achievement, Tesla. Well done, everybody on the team. Just amazing. And we are saying cars here, by the way. So in this list, it's not trucks and it's not SUVs, because you put trucks in there. Now, the US love their trucks, right? So we won't add those in there. But talking cars, that's how well a Model 3 does. Now, on January 17th, the New Jersey governor, Phil Murphy, signed into law sweeping legislation that has the potential to dramatically accelerate the sale of EVs in the state. New Jersey residents can get up to $5,000 off an EV, the most aggressive state EV incentive in the whole of the US. New Jersey currently has a sales tax exemption on battery electric vehicles. That stays. You can now get another rebate, $25 for every electric mile that your car does. That includes plug-ins as well. Okay, right. Question of the week this week. We were talking about your favourite car makers, your automakers, and which ones could be doing more, which ones you'd love to see doing more. And in terms of the move to battery electric vehicles, I will call this person E. Simply E. The one I'm concerned about is Honda. The reason is I work at Honda, says E, and that's all I'll say, because, they're a little bit critical. I'll read this out. Our president keeps talking about how there is no demand for EVs and how Honda is sticking to hybrids. I don't just work at Honda, I grew up a fan of Honda, he says. My favourite F1 driver was Ayrton Senna in the McLaren, in the Honda. I always adored Mr. Honda's principles, like blue skies for children, and be a company that society would want to exist. I personally feel that we could be one of the Nokias of the automotive world, unless it's absolutely critical in order to stay relevant going forward. Yeah, you're right. I mean, Honda have got their little Honda E, but otherwise, hate to say it, they are a little bit behind. But they got some plans. But this is all about the car makers that we want to give a kick up the backside to and say, come on, do better. Josh and Brenna, who is Space Coast EV drivers, after renting a Subaru Outback on a vacation, my wife and I agreed it would make the perfect EV. We think Subaru should be making an EV version of every car. And funnily enough, Dan Hersher would like to see Subaru doing more. They've crafted an image of being for outdoorsy people, the kind of people who care about clean air, water, climate. Even made a big deal about zero waste factories, so a clean, green EV Subaru would fit their desired public perception. I love Subaru. I wish they'd show a bit more love for the planet by ditching fossils. Stephen Murdoch says, I want to see GM making more battery electric vehicles, as GM Holden an iconic part of Aussie motoring. Or just release the Chevy Bolt Down Under. That's your first step. Steve James says, I would like to see Dacia hit the EV market. They would obviously make a cheap EV, and it would make other car companies look at their pricing. I agree. Dacia do live in that part of the market where you get a solid car, you don't pay a lot, but you get a lot for your money. And no brand. But that's where Hyundai and Kia were many years ago. That's where Skoda was many years ago. Super Fricky says that it would be Ford to make greater strides. Why is there no Fiesta EV? He says. And there were loads more. Thank you so much if you're one of those that sent them in. Yeah, it's a lot of car makers need to be doing more. But we'll see what 2020 brings. Right, new question of the week time right now. Have a think about this one. Email me and I'll read out your email on Sunday next weekend. With increasing attacks on EVs and vandalism caught on Tesla and Sentry mode, why do you think some people have a problem with EVs? With increasing attacks, road rage, vandalism caught on camera against EVs, why do you think some people have a problem with EVs? Why do people park their trucks in supercharger bays? Why do they do that? What do you reckon? You can email me, hello@evnewsdaily.com. Leave a comment on YouTube and socials. I'll read it out next Sunday. Thank you to the patrons who keep this show going. My premium partners, Phil Roberts of Electric Future, off to see a big VW ID3 event soon and see one up close and personal. I'll be checking in with Phil, see what he thought of it. Brad Crosby and Avid Technology, all my premium partners. Get a mention every show. My partners as well, David Allen, who I love to hear from. OEM Audio of New Zealand and evpower.co.nz if you're in New Zealand. That's where to go for your accessories. Paul O'Connor, thank you, Paul. Try EV, another former guest of this show. Gareth Hamer and future guests, emobilitynorway.com. And all my exec producers. Here we go. I love to read them out. And some people say, look, the list is too long. I know it's a long list, but I love to name check people. Just skip forward 30 seconds if this isn't your thing. But please listen. You might recognise one of these names. Alan Robson, Alan Shedd, Alex Banahini, Alexander Frank, Anders Hove, Andrea Jefferson. New Andrea. Asir, Khalid, Ashley Hill, Bjard Fuchstack, Barry Peniston, Brent Kingsford, Brian Thompson, Brian Weatherall, Bruce Bohannon, Charles Hall, Chris Hopkins, Colin Hennessy, Craig Coles, Craig Cooper, Craig Rogers, Damien Davis, Dan Fairs, Darren Bird, Darren Feach, Darren Sant, and Yorkshire EVs, Dave Jewson, David Barkman, David Finch, David Partington, and David Prescott. Derek Riley from theeffect.net, Don McAllister, loving his Model 3, at screencastsonline.com, Enrico Stefanchillo, Frederick Rovick, Free Jewel, who's James, Gene Rubin, Jeff Lowe, Ian Griffiths, Ian Sear, Jack Oakley, James Storr, Jerry Allison, Jim Morris, John Bailey, John Lacey, Click Like Video NZ, and John, who is Beardy McBeardface at Kent EVs, John Nodell, Juan Gonzalez, Ken Morris, Kevin Mason, Carl Mahan, Lars Allerger, Lawrence D. Allen, Lee Brown, Luke Cully, Marcel Lohman, Marcel Ward, Mark Bossett, Marlin Shell, Matt Piccioni, Matthew Ellis, Maz Shah, Mia Oppelstrup, Michael Pastroni, Michael Coffin, Mike Rogers, Mike Winter, Nathan Gore Brown, Neil Lee Roberts and Leanne at Sussex EVs, Ohad Aston, Northern Explorers, Paul Ridings, Paul Shelley, Paul Stevenson, Perry Simpkins, Pete Glass, Pete Gorton, Peter and D. Roberts, Oxen EVs, Phil Mouchet, Pontus Clint, Kinblad and Rajiv Narayan. Ralph Jensen, Ronnie Schneider, Rob Cooling and his driving school at appledriving.co.uk. Rob Hermans, Robert Grace, Robin Tanner, Rupert Mitchell, Sabby the Cat, Sari Kangasoja, Seiki Payne, Steve John, Stuart Hanna, Thomas J. Tias. The Plug Seekers EV YouTube channel, it's brilliant. Tim Gutteridge, William Langhorne and Zach Hurst. Well, if you'd like to find out what it's all about, patreon.com/EV News Daily. Have a wonderful day. Catch you tomorrow for the start of a brand new week. And in the meantime, do remember, there is no such thing as a self-charging hybrid.